You guys.
My main man, Darnell.
Hey, Reverend.
You are watching Live with Dr. Kimber. Come on in and have a seat at the table.
Well, good morning. You are listening to Live with Dr. Boise Kimber and taking a seat at the table. I'm delighted this morning to have Darnell Goldson as our guest this morning. Darnell is on the school board here in New Haven, and we're delighted to have you, Darnell. We'll begin to talk to you.
Rev, I lost you there for a minute.
Yes. Yeah.
It's kind
Can
of
you just say
spotty.
hello
It's
to
kind of
everyone?
spotty. Hello, everyone.
Darnell, tell me about. I was listening last night to the board meeting, and I wanted to talk to you and let our constituency know what actually took place last night with this bus contract.
What took place was a highway robbery, plain and simple. The taxpayers were not, did not benefit from the actions of the Board of Education last night. Over the last 3.5 months, the bus transportation system hasn't transported one child. But we understand as the pandemic, schools were closed. They had a clause in their contract that if they don't transport because of a shutdown, they get paid. But that clause was in there for snow days and for short emergencies that lasted a week or so. It wasn't for a 3.5 month pandemic. So the governor told us, go and renegotiate with the bus company. Now, over that 4 months, we would have owed them $8.8 million if they were actually moving kids around, but they didn't, right? So, and for the first month, they didn't even keep their employees on payroll. They furloughed their employees, which means they had to go and get unemployment. So in the end of the day, we owed them 8.8 if they were transporting kids. We negotiated with them, and our negotiating team actually agreed to pay 7.3 of that 8.8, which for me is extremely depressing. I mean, listen, they brought their employees back out, so we should have paid for the employees.
Like we're having some
Can you hear me? Hello, Doc. Doc, can you hear
Yes,
me?
we hear.
Can you hear me? Is it
You said that
is it
you were
my
having you were negotiating.
we were negotiating, and our negotiating team came back, and here's what they came back with. Instead of paying first student $8.8 million for not transporting kids, we would pay them $7.3 million for not transporting kids. Um, we paid them 83% of the contract. Thought that was ridiculous. We should have paid them for what they paid their employees, maybe a little extra, at the most $4 million. Is it me or you, Robert?
Yeah, I'm here.
Is it me or you that's having the problem?
I thi- I don't know which one of us are having technical problems. So, Sharon, you want to cut this?
You keep freezing on my end.
Okay.
Am I freezing on yours?
Yeah.
Uh,
So we're
I'm in
doing
my
this
car,
live.
so that may be part of the problem.
Okay. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, short end of the story. If it wasn't for the pandemic, we would have paid them $8.8 million for transporting kids. We had to transport for 4 months. We had the pandemic. We haven't transported kids for 3.5 months. They didn't have their staff on for half a month. our negotiating team somehow agreed to pay them $7.3 million, which is 83% of the contract. My position was we shouldn't have been paying them more than $4 million. We should have paid them for their employees that were on, maybe some maintenance work, and that was it. We're paying them almost $500,000 for depreciation of their vehicles. Their vehicles haven't driven off the lot. They haven't depreciated. They may have depreciated over time, but they haven't depreciated over use. So, I think we could have negotiated a better deal. I think we should have paid them 63% as opposed to 83%, but I was in the minority.
So how are we going to bring some kind of continuity to this Board of Education? And
Well,
where do you see this going?
Well, here's the deal. We have a Board of Education now who is led by amateurs. Quite frankly, we have a mayor who has never led anything larger than a garden party, who is making decisions not based on and who's new to the city. I mean, he's been here almost in an eye blink. He doesn't understand the Board of Ed. He's never served on it before. He just started sending his kids to the school system this year, so he doesn't have those kind of connections, and he doesn't have leadership training. Quite frankly, he doesn't have leadership training, and we have a board president who, again, have never led an organization, has never worked in an organization like this, and they are now calling the shots. And I don't, you got to change leadership. Either leadership has to become better. They have to learn. They have to understand and be willing to listen to folks who are willing to give them advice, who have experience. They have to gain more experience, or we have to put folks in there who have the experience. That's how we turn it around.
And how do you propose that we put people in there that has experience? Because the mayor makes the majority of the appointments. So are you saying that this mayor needs to go?
I'm saying that this mayor needs to go. Absolutely, I'm saying that. I'm saying that the mayor shouldn't have been there in the first place, and he needs to go.
Give me three
else.
reasons. Give me 3 reasons why you think he needs to go.
I think that we had riots in the streets a few days ago over this stupid Columbus statue. What other mayor would have led this city into riots? Quite frankly, and then he shows up the day after. That's not leadership. There should have been a better process that he used around that statue, as opposed to trying to, under the cover of night and the cover of this pandemic, go and lift it off his pedestal. I agree with most other people that the statue probably needed to go, but there needed to be a better process to do that. I've lived in this city for 59 years, and I've seen ups and downs, and I've seen different communities at odds with each other, but I've never seen them in a park, with canes and bullhorns fighting each other. I've never seen that, and this is unique to this mayor. This Board of Ed stuff. We're in a deficit situation. We have a almost $2 million deficit this year. We're going into a $9 million deficit next year, and their ideal of fixing that deficit is to give an extra $4 million to the first student for not transporting kids. Their ideal is to hire last week another assistant superintendent who left us about a year ago after doing 10 months of work. She was here for 10 months. She quit. Wouldn't even do an exit interview with us. And now we brought her back at nearly $220,000 when we're in a deficit situation. And yesterday, this board voted to cut part-timers to save $210,000. They voted to eliminate teacher positions. to save a couple of $100,000. And at the same
Who's
time, they're
actually leading?
hiring.
Who's
What's that?
actually leading this board to do this
Well,
besides the mayor?
Well, Ed Joyner, who's been on the board for 5 years, is now driving this. Yesenia, I believe, is just she's a student driver. She's not giving directions. She's not actually. They put her in the seat and then they tell her where to go, when to hit the brakes, when to take a right, when to take a left. So it's really Ed Joyner and the mayor. Yesenia is the student driver, and Matt Wilcox is sitting in the back seat waiting for his turn.
Mm. So let me ask you this: how do we get rid of this mayor?
Look, you've been out here for a long time. I've been in politics for a long time. You know, politics is about numbers. You just got to convince enough people that that he's doing the wrong thing. I think he's moving in that direction. He's now the Italians are extremely upset at him for what he's done. I think there are other communities. I think there are other people that were with him at the beginning of this process who now feel uncomfortable with his lack of leadership. It's like Trump on a local level. It's like
Mm.
Trump had no experience. We hired this guy by electing him, and now we see what it's doing to this country. Elliker had no experience, had been in New Haven for about a minute. Quite frankly, he comes from a Republican family. He worked for the Republican administration as in a diplomatic corps in China, which to me translates into spy. You look at the way that he treated Tony Hart during his campaign and the stuff that they did to her with the accusations of being corrupt, and the accusations of poisoning black kids, black and brown kids. And that is the same kind of campaigning that Donald Trump did. It divided and conquered, and it's sad, and it's not the way of New Haven. And I hope that I'm going to keep beating the drum, and hope that people hear it, understand it, and next time make decisions based not on these false false accusations. For instance, FBI investigation. Isn't it interesting that there was an FBI investigation? They swooped in to City Hall, and then you never heard anything else again. Isn't it interesting that his wife works with the FBI as a prosecutor? Isn't it interesting that he has these connections as a former diplomat in the Republican administration? I don't see coincidences. I see trends.
Mm. Where do you think this is going to lead this city and us as taxpayers and citizens of this city?
I don't know. I got to tell you, Reverend, I'm getting tired of banging my head up against the wall. We should have had 100 people at that board meeting yesterday saying no to this giveaway to first student.
Yeah, but you understand, but they did not allow any participation last night.
Yeah, but listen. These people could have sent emails. They could have sent texts. They didn't. I had a lot of people on Facebook. I must have had 50 people that said, "I'm going to be there. I'm going to send a text. I'm going to send an email." At the end of the day, the board members got maybe 3 emails from people saying, "Don't do this." So I just don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we should be giving away our money to these international corporations, multi-billion-dollar corporations like First Student, send it back over to Scotland where they're based, as opposed to giving it to our students in this system. Maybe that's what
Let,
people want.
let me ask you this. So you were saying that this mayor that this mayor has to go in order to put this city back in a position to move forward. Are
Yeah.
there any candidates out there?
Uh, There's a lot of people that want to be candidates. They want people to draft them. You know, they're waiting for this to happen or for that to happen, or But there's a lot of different names. You want me to name names?
Yeah, I
All
want to
right.
know.
Well, I hear that Karen Walton, the head of the housing authority, is has her head out there. She's sniffing around a little. Mike Smart is always a potential candidate. I love him. I think he would be a great candidate. Um, let's see who else. Who else is out there? I don't know. I've heard some of the names. I just can't remember what they are. There are a
Somebody
few
mentioned
names.
Warren Candelaria. I've heard his name out there.
Really, I haven't heard.
Yes.
Well, I always thought that Juan was going to eventually be a candidate, a Latino candidate, but I haven't heard his name mentioned this year.
So, what about yourself?
People are coming to me. People are coming to me and asking me to do it, and I got to tell you, um, I'm really not. I mean, I'm almost 60 years old, and the last thing I want to do is be running another campaign every 2 years to convince people to vote for me. And the daily grind of being a mayor is not just sitting behind a desk and making decisions. So it's a daily grind, and I don't know if I want that grind at this point in my life. But I got to tell you, if nobody else steps up to the plate, I will certainly do so.
Oh, that's very interesting, Mr. Goldson, that you're putting your name out there in this cup here. Let me ask you this.
Somebody has to speak for the people, and I don't see anybody doing it at this point.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. There were a number of blacks who supported Elliker. I do not hear them saying anything now. And did he hire any of them?
I don't know. I got to tell you, I'm really focused on the Board of Ed. I don't know what's going on at City Hall. My understanding is from conversations I've had with people is that there were several supporters who were very involved in the campaign, and that everybody was talking about we're going to have roles in City Hall, and they don't have those roles. Whether or not they still have a relationship with him, I don't know. But I know that there were several folks who were involved in the campaign and high level involved in the campaign who are no longer who don't have roles at City Hall.
My final question to you. Let's talk about COVID-19 and our kids going back to school. What is there any preparation from a local level? I know that there's something from the state level. What are we doing locally? What is the superintendent proposing locally for COVID-19 and our kids going back to school?
Well, I think that people at the school system have been discussing what to do. They put together what they call tiger teams, and they're working on figuring this out. We get a maybe 2-minute presentation at our board meetings over the last couple of months, but we haven't gotten any written materials about what will occur. And I think part of it is because they were waiting to see what guidelines the governor would provide. Because, they want to put a whole lot of effort into doing a whole lot of planning, and the governor does something wholly different. I understand that because at one time we were thinking that they were probably going to split the days up and have half of the school show up on one day, half of the school show up on another day. That was one of the plans they were talking about. Now the governor is talking about 5 days a week. Everybody's going back to school as normal, but we don't know how you do that with social distancing. We're certainly not getting additional money to do anything except for some of the federal CARES Act. So the question is, how do you social distance? If you already have overcrowded classrooms, how do you social distance those classrooms, right? Without hiring more teachers and opening up more space, which we probably don't have a whole lot of.
So
I
you
don't.
got to move. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So there is not a plan set in stone yet because the governor just announced what his guidelines were a few days ago. I'll be curious to see what the superintendent brings to the table.
So I said that was my final question, but like a Baptist preacher, we
Uh-huh.
closed 2 or 3 times. My final question, you have a new superintendent. Tell me
Yes.
about the new superintendent and how are we going to fare with the new superintendent?
Uh, Time will tell. I think that she is a type of superintendent who will be steady. Okay, she's not going to make any waves. She's not going to be innovative. She's going to do what they've been doing. She's been with the school system 36 years, and she's going to do what she's been doing for 36 years, which is kind of keeping her head down and doing her job. Um, and I think that's probably what we need in this COVID type. Well, whether it's what we needed or not is what we got, right? I mean, this system was not ready for a new search. The city wasn't ready for a new search, and quite frankly, with COVID, it just would have been a lot more difficult. So um, we got what we got, and um, time will tell whether she will stand tall with the best of them, or just be an asterisk in the in a footnote at the Louisville public school system.
Well, Darnell Goldson, let me thank you for taking a seat at the table on today. And to our audience, Darnell Goldson is a New Haven Board of Education member, elected member. He had to get out there and work and get the votes to be a part of the Board of Education. Let me thank you for your fight and what you stand for and trying to keep this Board of Education honest about the taxpayers' money. Thank you so very much. Have a great day. You've been listening to Live with Dr. Boise Kimber. Yes, Darnell Goldson taking a seat at the table.
Thanks, sir.